Oh, here it is. Friday morning. There it is. Oh, it's not too bad. It's only 5 minutes late. I finally got the dogs to do what needed to be done. So I can get started again on doing stuff here on the Porco Rosso model. And I have some other things that got printed on the rosin printer. Yeah, just earlier this week. So I get to show those to you because I'll probably work on those next week. Hi, Enforcer. Thanks for joining in. I'm glad you could stop in today. So we'll see how this goes. I've still got these teeny little parts here. These are painted now. The seat, I'm not going to mess with the seat anymore than I have already. Nikki came down and looked at it with her artist's eyes and says, "Oh, you should do this and this." And I said, "Yes, I should, but I can't, so I'm not going to try." Just in terms of shading, to make it look more seat-like. And then the instrument panels. So mostly what I'm going to be doing today is, I believe I'm going to be mostly cementing things together. Test fitting them, hoping that they work, and very carefully and sparingly putting in cement and sticking pieces together. Yeah, that. A little bit of painting. I got a box for these brushes, so that they would be carefully stowed away, and then I just laid them out all over the place. Oh, that's too bad. So you're not going to get your D&D campaign going, or your campaigns going anytime soon. Yeah, so at least you're enjoying your MMO. Yeah, it's really it's in order to make these things work, you need to schedule them in and make sure that they take that they're right there, right? That they're scheduled and you stick to the schedule. And when other things get in the way, they really just do. I'm reaching over things because I've cluttered up my workbench again in a way that I think this is the color I need. Yeah. Oh, for the whole year, that's not a bad deal. Because you only had a couple months subscription, if I recall, and there's no way you're going to be able to finish the game in that amount of time. So it'd be really nice if you could play it through. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you had it for a year, you should be able to make some good progress on it. At least you've got that. Are you going to still keep working on the backstories? Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's $10 a month, but if you buy a whole year, you get it for half of that price. That's actually a pretty good deal. I would encourage them to help you out with that. I think that would be great. Yeah, and it's been interesting to hear about the character development as well. So I've got all these pieces here that need to be assembled, and parts of them I can't assemble yet because they're dependent on these control panels. But I can get quite a bit in here, and then it'll start looking like something. So essentially, those 4 pieces, you can see what I'm doing here. So these pieces here No, it's okay. I mean, I can understand that. So, I don't know. I don't need think you need to give up on your friends, unless you really know that that's the issue. But it doesn't hurt to make additional friends. You know, that's a possibility. But I don't make friends very easily myself, so I can't really give you very good advice about that. So I'm not going to even try. But you should listen to your mom, but also stay in touch with all your friends to see what you can do. Yeah, as far as assembly goes, all of these bits, these 4 bits up there, plus the control panel, are not going to be. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. That's absolutely right. And at some point, they might get together and you can get your game going, and then you can play one of your characters, I think, and then watch your character develop in game. That would be really fun. So here's another part that can be assembled, and then these little bits. So all of this stuff can theoretically be put together today. Oh, yeah. Was that before the storm? Before the storm hit? Did that really disrupt things? Or did it start coming disrupted before that? Yeah, I bet it did. I mean, power was out, people got hurt, things really got disrupted pretty badly. That was a terrible event. Hopefully, this other one that's brewing, hopefully, everything that's brewing out there isn't going to come your way. I think there's one last storm named Raphael that's swirling around. Hopefully, that won't get in your direction. Um, oh, yeah, that's I missed. In case you're wondering, I threw the trash over. Sometimes it takes a while to recover from that, and I think you just stay in touch, keep developing your characters, and play your game to keep occupied. Um, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be painting. I'm going to paint a second coat on the backs. These are the backs of the instrument panels, and then I'll paint the fronts, sort of. Um, I need to work on those. But mostly what I want to do is put all this stuff together so that it looks like I've accomplished something. The other thing is I want to show you what I'll be working on next week. We have more Wilstein Grotfelds. I don't know if you remember these guys. I painted about a dozen of them. Uh, and they did appear. Yeah, I mean, when you go through something like that, well, I mean, what you can do is just be there and try to get their lives back to normal as much as you can. But that was pretty rough. It was a rough experience. So these I painted a bunch of these guys, and now we've got 5 more. These had some sort of like magic weapon, and these guys have like assault rifles, and I don't know what's going on with this one. Oh, okay, that's a totally different one. This is a main character. This is a significant character in our Dungeons and Dragons show. So that's going to get painted at some point in the future, but I just got made a mess of everything here. But these guys have like guns and things, and so I'm going to be painting them pretty much in the same color scheme as this guy, and I'll likely work on them next week. I've got 4 of them. I need to clean them up a little bit. Where did you find that the wizard subclass? In Were you like reading about it? Ah, okay. So, oh, okay. Somebody made up a homebrew. That's pretty cool. Well, you could learn more about that. Oh, I like that. Um, a character like that would fit into our group really well. That we could let we could let a baking and pastry wizard. Oh, you were going to be a pastry chef? Maybe you are. That's really cool. You went to a culinary school. The other thing is we. This is hard to describe. It's a boulette that has been infested with fungus, and so it's got mushrooms and spikes and stuff growing out of it. And this is supposed to end up being somewhat like this. This is a fungus monster I painted a long time ago. I think people who love baking to be around them to bake for them. So this is going to be sort of the same theme. It's going to be this beige with red streaks down below, and then these spiky things will be yellow with green streaks. And it's armor plated, and the stuff is growing through its armor, so the armor is just corroded. So I'm going to be working on this guy sometime in the future as well. And these spikes are pretty fragile. You can tell they're pretty fragile because one's already broken off. Yeah, I don't, you can't send a link in chat. Well, maybe you can, but then I can't use it. But you could put it in our Discord channel. You could go there and link it there under miscellaneous or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of categories. So this guy is going to require a whole bunch of work sometime in the future. I'm trying to put these someplace where I'm not going to break them. And I don't know if I'll get to those guys during this stream today or not. I'm probably going to end early. Oh, I have to be so careful. Every time I touch this, I bump into one of those little spiky things on the boulette. And then it means just more of them are going to be broken off. So in our D&D campaign, in our show, we actually have we've run across DM makes this stuff up. Who, so she's really good at that. Wheat wizards. Geez, people have asked about that several times. The Discord. I think if you're watching this underneath me, okay, there's these little pictures and stuff that are scrolling. And from time to time, social media links show up. There's one that still has a little Twitter bird on it, I think. And there's one for Discord. I wish I could remember these things better than I can remember them. But we do have a Discord channel and a Discord link. And Ole Brager has posted some things in it, so I know people can get to it. So if I don't have it today, I'll try to get it to you next week. Okay, I'll try to do that. Oh, I see. Okay, well then you can't see it. I'll get that information out next week, probably maybe the end of the week. One of the reasons I'm dog watching is because other members of our Dyson Dungeons group are gone, and they're the ones who know how to do things. I just have to admit I'm pretty ignorant about some of this stuff. I don't do much social media. I'm going to paint a second coat on the back of these first because that's kind of a relaxing thing to do. It's not very challenging. Okay. Well, if you have it saved, that'd be good. With Sugar Mancy. Okay. I'm really kind of liking this. Um, our DM should probably get, or one of the other members of Dyson Dungeons. We definitely need to somehow or other. We need to run into the School of Sugar Mancy because we did for some reason create this thing called a wheat wizard, because our D&D Dyson Dungeons group Midnight Brunch is into, well, Midnight Brunch gives it away. Is very into food, and as a result we ran into wheat wizards because they make the best wheat for the best baked goods. That's the story anyway. That's the excuse. So a whole school of wizardry devoted to baking. And it's pretty good. Or as we like to say, pretty nice. It's pretty good gum. Pretty good wizarding. It's good. It's a really good use of wizarding. This is pretty much most of the painting I'm going to be showing today, except for this piece. I'm going to paint the other side. This is the one where the decal goes, and the other one is the full on needs to be painted instant. Okay. Yep. Bad. I'm having a not relaxing painting moment there. Didn't mess that up too much. That might not be the most useful thing in combat, but it's who would complain about having the pastry wizard in their group? I don't know. I know our group would not be complaining about that. I don't know. You could. I mean, you could do things, I suppose, like conjure up a whole pile of dough, and you could make a dough trap. A trap, like quicksand kind of, or a sticky trap. Um, mm-hmm. I think you could have a lot of fun with that. I mean, just the idea of a pastry um, pastry wizard could make up whole stories, not just the wizard, but um, the whole school, how the school developed, how do you get into it. You could get pretty elaborate in your storytelling um, about something like that. Trying to get this right. This piece goes in the very front up here, like that. But it looks like I need to put these guys in first. Flavored goods, you could have really, really hard biscuits that could be thrown. Here, I get these. This one goes here. Put these in first because there could be a gap in the paint after they're. Uh, wow, my fingers look. My fingers are working not at all today. Yes, I mean biscotti. Biscotti could be a pretty dangerous weapon actually. It goes in like that. I'm gonna move the camera back a little bit. And if I get it right, it wow. This is going to be a challenging. This is going to be. If I'm doing that with these parts, can you imagine what it's going to be like with the little bitty bitsy parts? It should be pretty exciting. Why doesn't it fit now? Yeah, that might be too much, but then it would, well, there'd be a record of it anyway then. Even it would be preserved in. I'm really baffled. I had this piece. Okay, that's how it's supposed to go. Figure out if I can get it to do that with cement in there. Man, this is going to be a day, but it needs to be done. I need to put things together. Do need to do some assembly. Having painted all of these pieces, I want it to look like there's actually a model being put together. So I'm going to put the cement on this piece of paper and use a toothpick, because even though this has a needle applicator on it, um, it's very likely to put way too much cement in the way too wrong spot. I can do that. And now I need to try to get this piece back like I did sort of before, this time with the cement in place. do not understand how I'm not able to do this. Now, there's not enough cement to hold it in place. Well, that's a good question about what race it would be. I mean, you always end up doing elves, right? But I don't think this would be I think you should be a little more creative. Well, thanks for dropping in. Hope to see you again later. Good luck getting in touch with your friends. I hope they're okay and that you'll be able to get back to playing soon. But also talk her into letting you get that subscription to the game you were playing, because it sounds like a pretty good deal. Actually went in sort of in position. Hi, I am doing well. I'm doing pretty well. This is dog watching day, so as I say up there, will there be chaos or not? I got started a little bit late because the dogs needed to do their duty. They were reluctant this morning, and I finally got it done. Why is the cement not grabbing? And I am attempting to assemble now various and sundry little parts that I painted of this Savoia. Okay, the cement is there. Researching a time period on the broke budget. Hi, Gabby. Okay, which time period, and is your budget broke, or you're looking for a time period during which the budget was broke and you want to research it? If you want to research a time period when the budget's, oh, geez. No, there's like a really big contact point there. Yeah, put actually almost too much cement on it, and it's just not grabbing. Oh, okay. Um, well, you have access to the internet. Victorian inspired. There's a lot of ways you can research Victorian times. The There's always, the romance novel, the Victorian novel kind of experience. There was a fair amount of warfare going on. So you always have that available to you. Excuse me, I'm irpy today. What is with today? No, those line up more or less. That's good. The machine gun goes in there. So kind of like Victorian England. Is that what you're looking at? That's usually what people think of when they think of Victorian times. Because of Queen Victoria, right? She got to it got to be named after her. That's pretty nice. What did you dream about in the Victorian dream? How did that go? Tell us about it a little bit. Better. Tilted. No, it's not. It's not in place. Being quiet. Um, I'm trying to get these parts to work, and just it's so much opportunity for it to get screwed up. There's so much danger when you get into extraplanar activity like that. Um, the opportunity for your party to be told, TKP is just massive. I would advise anybody who's a player in a D&D game that if your DM is insisting on doing extraplanar magic, um, extraplanar activity, you should just whap them upside the head right away. Okay, it looks like that's going to be okay. They're lined up. They're pretty close to being lined up. Um, they look like they're vertical. I don't know. There's a lot of cement on there, and it's not setting. And I hope the rest of this goes together more easily. Oh, hi, Enforcer. Thanks for coming back. You definitely need to save the planar stuff until they're really at a high level. Um, our DM is doing some extra planar stuff in our Dice and Dungeons campaign, just threatening midnight brunch with um, just extra planar magic, extra planar invasion almost. And so far, whenever we've run into it, we've been mostly dead. I've been mostly dead. So it's nasty, and it's a nasty thing to do. But so, the dangers, the magical artifacts bit is good. If you're going to be doing that, then you have the opportunity to do a bunch of homebrew magical items. I mean, you can kind of base them on real magical items, sort of, but you also have the opportunity to do some homebrew stuff, and that can be really a lot of fun. That's a good idea. But if you watched our D&D campaign, our show, you know that we early on in some sewers we ran into a group that was messing around with extraplanar stuff, and they just wrote runes on a wall, and the runes created massive psychic damage. I mean, the runes themselves did. So you can begin to imagine the kind of stuff that these might do. I can't say that we're really thrilled about more encounters. But the Victorian time is a really good time setting for that, because that was a time when things were slightly magical. Okay. I mean, it really fits the time period. I don't know if this cement is going to work with these tiny little contact points. I might have to try something else. I guess I will be finding out sooner or later. It's in place. And then I'll find out. I'm going to find out how this went. Okay, that begins to sound kind of scary. So I have to ask, does a tooth fairy then, is this the kind of tooth fairy that just collects, discarded teeth? Or is this the kind of tooth fairy that goes around collecting teeth? That could be pretty disturbing. There was a character in a story. It was a short story. I can't remember where it came from or why I read it. Okay. But the character was afraid of its own bones. Okay. I don't know how to explain that, but it was afraid that his skeleton would take over, and wanted to get rid of its bones somehow, and actually found sort of magical creature that went inside and ate its bones. So he just turned into this boneless blob. It was really bizarre. Okay, those seem to line up, which is important because the machine guns go on here somehow. Notch. Now I have to wait for that cement to set. Otherwise, I'm gonna do something terrible. I'll make a mess. I'll break something. but the machine gun's set on here somehow. Oh, I should have. Oh my. All right, I'm going. Well, are they just collecting like teeth that fall out of kids' mouths? You know, the under the pillow kind of thing, or are they just like running around rampant, stealing people's teeth? Um, I need to have test fit these before, and I didn't fit. There's this little slot down here. I have no idea what that's for. The instructions make it look like the little slot is supposed to fit into this, but there's no protuberance. I mean, to catch it. You know, I'm thinking that's going to have to wait. Hopefully, the cement will set, and I'll be able to make some arrangements for that. Ooh, I don't know. That's kind of scary about how that's going to go or not go. This goes here. It's pretty straightforward. I think I can. I'm going to put the machine guns in first because I'm going to need to be able to reach behind it. So I know where this goes, but I'm going to do that a little bit later. The machine guns are supposed to go in at a later time, but there. This is like a firewall that goes there. That looks pretty good. So these things go on there and there and there, and I think the machine guns are just going to be a bigger. They're supposed to be simple, but it looks like they're going to be a problem. All of these folks are just all upset. So may I ask, from where are they collecting the bones and the teeth? Are they just like knocking people over the head and stealing them outright, or are they doing cadaver stealing? I'm kind of curious and disturbed all at the same time. Okay. I'm going to put these little bitty bits in, and then deal with the machine guns. But this has got to set up for a while before I can mess with the machine guns, because I'm going to maybe have to, I don't know, like apply pressure or sand something down. I should have attached the machine guns to the tops of these things before I even put this together. Okay. You know, there's always a price to be paid when you don't follow through on a deal you made. I'm a poet and didn't even know it. Yeah, that was stupid. Sorry. Okay. All these little bitty bits go in here. And I'm going to follow the instructions. I did some test fitting on this stuff before, so I'm supposed to know where they go. Did it again. I'm just a rhyming fool today. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have to try to stay over the box, because if I'm going to drop something, well, so this bit goes here in this slot. No, well, it doesn't go there like that. It goes in like that. I think I can do that. And continue to use the toothpick method. In this case, I'm going to use a pointy toothpick because the attachment spots get smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm not using tweezers because I've had really bad experiences with tweezers and these little parts, in that the tweezers pushes the little parts and makes them go fly away. Suddenly concerned that I've got a spot here, spot where the paint came off. Cement spot. It's going away. Okay. No, I have to touch that up. I have to put a tiny little spot of paint on there. Maybe I'll use the brown wash. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a tiny little white spot there now. So they go around collecting little kids' teeth. I mean, that's sweet. Maybe just leave them a little prize or something. But when they go bad, they go bad. Probably not. You don't want to be around an angry tooth fairy. So is this resulting in like a rapid burst of demand for dental care? These little teeny parts are such a challenge. Get it to sit in there just right. Okay, well, I've got a white spot now. I'm going to try to fix it this way. Let's see how this works. I'm going to use a brush. Use a brush. It was almost invisible, but okay. That to get brown stain in the bottle. I almost made a mess. I almost did a disaster by not thinking, and getting impatient. There was a little white spot where the cement had pulled the paint away. Okay. And I put a little brown wash on it, but I was touching the brown wash to this part of the paper towel. But I don't want any brown wash on the bottom of this piece I'm working on. So anyway, I almost did a thing that I sometimes do, which is a bad thing, making a mess thing. Okay. I think the order, I'll put the rudder pedals in next. The rudder pedals, sorry, I'm looking up at chat here too. I'm trying to keep in touch, but it makes sense that the townspeople had made a deal. They reneged on the deal, and now they've got a problem with the tooth fairies because the tooth fairies are working for a very angry bone fairy. It's a little complicated, okay? But it does make sense that that is the kind of thing that would happen. Just to go in this direction, this way, with the roundy part first. So this is another one of those getting the cement in with a toothpick. This new cement doesn't work the way the old cements used to work. Okay, it does dissolve the plastic and weld it, but not in the same way. It's more of a contact cement, which is fine, but anyway, it's just a different. It's just a slightly different challenge in terms of assembly. Actually got that. I actually got that in place. I just need to line it up. This has to be aligned, like rocking back and forth and rotated. So it's a multi-dimensional lining upness thing. So I've got 2 of the 5 pieces in. These are the rudder pedals. This is, I don't know, looks like a brake lever, but I'm not sure what it really does in the airplane. Parts. Looks like it's okay. Now I'm going to put the control stick in. Okay, the thing that guides the airplane. That has to go in the correct way. The correct way is with the loop. You can see the picture here. The little loop goes forward. Goes in like this. That is a tiny, tiny little hole. Okay. It's really a pretty cool convoluted story. Um, why did the what's the backstory on the Bone Fairy and the townspeople? And how did the townspeople get into the position where they had to pay bone tribute to the Bone Fairy? Let's put it in backward. Good thing it's a good thing I had to switch hands. There must be some sort of somebody must have done something to somebody to get the Bone Fairy wanting bones from the townspeople. It's not. I cannot. There. It's not gripping. Now, this is being more annoying than I really expected it to be. So this thing too has to be like lined up in 4 dimensions. Okay, fore and aft. That looks okay. At least, I'm not making too many grumpy noises yet. Getting close, though. Getting close to having had to make many grumpy noises. Just trying to get this lined up. It has to be lined up so it's not rotated. It was when I first put it in, so I was able to rotate it back. Um, so then I have to make sure it's okay. This was down there that need to be touched up somehow. Okay, I'm going to let that set for a bit because there's a chance when I put these last bits in that I'm going to bump it, and I want that cement to be as solid as it can be before I bump it. Part of it is that this whole thing is angled, right? It's not flat, and so it's like, how should it be oriented? So slightly. Okay, I'm going to try to touch up some of these spots on the machine gun mount. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to use a wash instead of the paint. And in this case, it's the green wash. I'm going to use the bitty brush. There's just some spots where the paint was like worn off or something. Not really sure, but it leaves a light spot, like a light spot that I don't want to be there. That that was not good. That was actually not good. Too much of the dark color in too much of the wrong spot. That worked that time. You too. These corners. They could be darkened some. The edges, I mean. Being tiny, the most infinitesimal little flaws that I want to take care of before I proceed much further. The installation of the machine guns is now problematic. I thought it would be like sometimes the simplest things are the hardest things. It's like, oh, this will be simple. And then one isn't prepared for how much it isn't simple. These I expect not to be simple. These are, as you can see, like grains of rice, right? Teeny little things. Um, Teeny little things need to go in these teeny little holes facing forward like that. Really should use tweezers to put them in. Really irpy today. I don't understand what's with the irpiness. To attempt to do this with fingers. I got it in backward. Of course I did. It's supposed to face forward, and I put it in backward. Nice, huh? There we go. Um, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. That lever is supposed to go there. That actually wasn't awful. We'll see if the other one can be not awful. They're in place. They're a little crooked. It's okay. I'm okay with them not being lined up front and back, but I want them to be like lined vertically this direction. In fact, I think it's okay if they're not exactly in alignment. That way you can see there's two of them. Okay, I've got the, these parts installed in the cockpit now. Look better there than they did in the box. There's a spot there. I don't know what that's coming. Oh, it's just the space between them. I thought there was a flaw in the paint, but no, it's not. It's just the way it's just the way the light hits it. The other thing that goes on here is the seat. This goes here, there, just like that. It's a big square thing that goes on top of a big square thing. And there's a lot of surface contact area there. That should be easy. It should be an easy thing. See how easy it turns out to be. Thanks for bearing with me as I go through this. I should be like talking about Mighty Mouse or Mickey Mouse Club or other mouse related sorts of things instead of just not saying anything at all. What is going on there? You think with two flat surfaces that it would just set and it would be set, right? But it seems to want to rock around a little bit. What the heck is going on? My my 3-dimensional. I'm not seeing things in 3 dimensions here. I think what's happened here is that the okay, that's better. I want to make sure it's not tilted left to right. Rotated. Okay, I got the inside of the cockpit done here. You can see, I did a pretty decent job with the detail. The rudder pedals, the pedal part is rubber. I got the handle on this thing right. This thing turned out really cool. There's like 4 different colors on there, and it looks good. Little lever handles there are good. The seat looks decent, and it's like not tilted or bent over or anything stupid. So what's holding this up now? What's holding this up now is the machine guns, and somehow they're supposed to go in here. I'm not going to cement that in. It went in, it's staying there. If I can get the other one like that, then I will declare a miracle. Okay, I'm not going to mess with cement. They're in there. This one's pretty tight. This one isn't, but maybe I'll need to. Yeah, I'm going to have to put a little cement in there. Um, just didn't want to, but I'm going to need to, and because this one just slid in and it's just stuck. It's just sticking. Oh, we better get rid of that. Assuming I'm getting some cement in there. I'll find out soon enough. Let's see how those bits fit together. It should go down. No, what did I do? Plane flies like this. I want the angle of the machine guns to look correct, and it looks like the way they should be. Okay, they're not exactly. This one's just up a little higher. I wanted it to go down into the slot on the green part a little further. But they look okay from this side. No, 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 no. Oh, damn it. Okay, what's happened is that as I put the machine guns in, the other parts came apart. Then the cement didn't hold. And now I have to try to get this in. This was one of those things where it was just leave it alone. It is okay as it is. Just let it be. It was that kind of thing. And then I didn't let it be. I mean, it was an infinitesimal little bit of something that could not be seen. The whole thing's falling apart. The whole thing is now falling apart. All right. Well, lesson learned here. The whole thing is falling apart. All right. So I almost had it. It was like 99% okay, and then I screwed it up. Totally screwed it up. Nicely done. Nicely undone. Mm-hmm. So in case you're wondering, as I was attempting to get the machine guns into place, they were just slightly asymmetric. And in my effort to get them to be symmetric, I managed to undo the parts that I had done before. Lovely. I'm going to put them all back together and attempt. So I'm done here now. Attempt to get it to be realigned. That was it just wasn't good. It was just not good. The whole thing went not well. It went badly. It's going worse. Can you see what's happening here? Can you see how everything is it's getting screwed up? Can you see how it was almost perfectly just fine? Just leave it alone a moment ago until I tried to make a tiny little adjustment, at which point it all fell apart. Stuck the paint back there. That got messed up pretty badly. I'm going to have to try to fix that. What I managed to do was just destroy things. I managed to destroy things. I managed to screw up something here that was actually looking really quite good before I screwed it up. Um, I think I salvaged it. I think I've managed to salvage it, but just barely. And now I've got some flaws to fix, and so I get this. The parts are set up so that they should fit together pretty nicely. Okay. This one's not. I don't know what the problem is. The green bit is not lined up. This way. Needs to happen. It needed to go forward. Now it's not too bad. Trying to make sure that they're the same, like at the same height. Why does that one? This one just keeps sagging. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just trying to get it right. Then I have to do some, unfortunately, I have to do some paint touch up. Which I was not planning on. Can't get it right. It's either too high or too low. I'm looking at the angle of the machine gun here as I look across it. Okay, there's an asymmetry there that I just am unable to fix. Well, that was just way more exciting than I wanted it to be. The whole thing just came totally apart. I was unsatisfied with how it was going. Dissatisfied, I guess that's a better word. I was dissatisfied. Still not thrilled. But right at the moment, I think I've got it as good as it has been since I started. This side it looks low, from the other side it looks high. So the compromise is leave it alone. All right. Well, the inside of the cockpit is not good. I knocked a piece off. Great. I found it. I found the piece. That's good. No, seriously, when I look at it this way, it looks like it's up high. And when I look at it from this angle, it's like it's low, but I'm going to leave it. This broke off to re-cement it. Okay. As much as I can see, I'm having trouble seeing. I think I need to put a little touch of black paint on the end of the handle. Like there's a little white spot on there where the paint might have come off. I'm going to fix that right away. Um, it's just this color paint. Try the toothpick bit instead of getting the brush out. There, that fixed it. The machine guns look okay. Okay, well, my monologue leaves a lot to be desired today as I've been putting these little bitty bits in, and for the most part, they're okay. I only knocked one off once. I totally broke this twice. And I've got some big parts to put in now. The machine guns will be as they are. This goes here like this. That should be straightforward, right? I mean, that should be a simple thing to do. One would hope. Well, my toothpicks now have guck on them. They can't be, I'm not sure they can be trusted anymore. Fortunately, I have more toothpicks. Oh, I should fix the paint on this thing before I put this other part in. I messed up the paint down there by putting too much cement on it, and the cement moved and got in the way. This is gunmetal, which I managed to put away because I wasn't needing it anymore. I'm going to put my head magnifiers on for this. I don't want to mess this up. So here we go. There's always the danger when working with cement like that is that if it dissolves the paint, and I tried really hard to get it in the right place the right way, but what happened was the whole thing fell apart when I got a little impatient, put a little too much cement on, and it oozed out. And it did kind of make a mess there. So I'm going to try to be patient. I'm doing deep breathing and relaxing. No, don't touch the things that could be broken. shiny, so the green is reflecting in it. I fixed it, so there. Okay. So far, every disaster, and there has been several, has been fixed. Yay. It's been stressful. This hasn't been relaxing today. Maybe because I'm not doing enough painting. Maybe if I were painting, it would be more relaxing. All right. I've got these big parts left that I need to put in without messing them up. Starting to get a little impatient. I need to be cautious. Right? I don't want to have a big problem with the cement. Well, Enforcer, thanks for dropping in, and you too, Gift to Gabby. I really appreciate it, and sorry that I just stopped talking because I was putting little pieces together and doing stuff like that, and when that happens, I just have to really pay attention. Otherwise, it's a disaster, and sometimes even if I do pay attention, it gets disasterated. Yeah, it flops back and forth. I am not really sure how it's supposed to be. I'll play with that a little bit later. Um, no, this has little tiny feet. I'm going to what I'd like to do is put the cement in the place where these go and set it down into it, but that's going to be really hard to do. I'm going to take a chance on this. Put this in just right. And if at least two of the four grab on, I should be all right. At least that can't. I mean, it is. It is what it is. It's not wiggling around. There is a good thing to be said for that. Okay. Now the interior of the cabin can't. I mean, it's almost done, except for the thing that goes around the cockpit, which are these pieces up here. Okay, it forms like there's a cockpit around the cockpit. That's what it does. So this is pretty good. There's a firewall between the fuel tank and the machine guns. That's a good idea. It turns out that there is no firewall. This is what you get. This goes here. No, there's no firewall between the fuel tank and the cockpit. Nothing. There's just nothing there. This goes here, yeah, up here like this. Hopefully, if everything fits, this will go there. There's little slots for it there. That it's going to end up going like that. So there's, as you can see, there's nothing between the pilot and the fuel tank. I mean, just nothing there. If that, I mean, that would be a disaster. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed it, but they weren't thinking of pilot safety. I don't know. Maybe that's the fuel gauge. Maybe it works that way. Maybe there's like a window there in the fuel tank that isn't built into the model. Okay. There's a little spot here. There's a couple of spots that just need some brown wash on them. Hi, exotic carrot. Good name. You got here just in time for me to go. I just assembled all these little bits that I've been painting over the last while, and the inside of the canopy. And what I've got left to do are instrument panels, basically. Got a tiny, tiny little bit of touch up with this brown wash where there's just some light spots on the what would be wood, like here. I'm not going to rebase coat it. I'm just going to use this to darken it just a little bit, so that they don't look like bright white spots. To blend in with the rest. Yeah, just little bitty bits. So thanks for joining in. You missed all sorts of excitement where I cemented some things together and then they didn't fit. And then I ended up having to redo them completely. And now they're mostly okay. And then something else didn't fit. And anyway, and then I broke a piece off that had already been put on. It was a good deal of oopsing going on today. After I'm done with this bit, just doing some of these little touching up the bright spots so that they're not bright anymore. Side, look at it to the top. I'm going to very carefully set this aside so I don't mess it up any more than I've already messed it up. Excuse me. Just using the wash on this to cover up some of the bright spots where it looks like something, rubbed the wrong way. It looks adequate. There's something there. What's up with that? Okay, I'm going to now set this aside because it's pretty much done. Clean the brush and explain what needs to happen next. I'm going to not be working on the plane for a bit. I'll explain that in a little while. Part of it is, I need to get these instrument panels done. There's two versions of this. One, if I flip this over, you can see it's just a flat surface and a decal goes on there. The other one has instruments embossed onto it, and that's supposed to be very, very nicely painted to look like a beautiful instrument panel. And I'm base coating this in this kind of yellowish color, and then I'm washing it in this darker color to make it look like it may be mahogany, like it's a mahogany instrument panel. Okay, which gives a different look than the rest of the wood, which is probably like maple or whatever. This one, well, I'm just going to base coat this one, and then not this other one. This is just going to be, this is like a whole week's worth of very, I can't believe it went badly. Oh, that went well. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, this and that and the other thing. It's just going to be that kind of activity. But even base coating this, I need to get the brown, the wood around the instrument panel. So I can't just brush it on like I have been with this thing. And getting close. Yeah. I'm like 2/3 of the way through this, and my focus I'm not focused enough to be able to do that. I know that. I'm just not. So I'm going to put a first coat of paint on this. And then let it dry. And the next time I work on the plane, on the Savoia, I'll probably, I'm probably going to try to put the decal on to see how it looks. And then I'll start working on the instrument panel because I can't get anywhere else on this model until I get the instrument panel done, because that attaches to the front of, here, I'll show you. The instrument panel attaches to oh man, Whoa, that's why I try not to do things after the 2/3 mark of the thing, is it attaches to this, and then these attach to that, and these can't attach to that until the instrument panel is attached to that. So the whole thing, all of these parts here, are waiting for one of these, which is going to be either the cheater decal or the really beautiful mahogany bezeled. Oh, wow. I'm almost tempted to do the bezels in brass. I think that would look really cool, is to do the circles. I don't know if you can see it. Let me cap this up before I spill the whole bottle. You can see them here, the instruments, and they've got this. They're inset. Okay, the instrument panel, the instruments themselves are inset, and then there's a raised circle around it, the bezel around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. Okay, the inside has to be painted white, and then there's little dials and stuff inside that need to be highlighted somehow. I'm not sure how. Whoever did the model on the front cover of the box, whoever did this, okay, can you see it? Whoever did that got the instrument panel. It's just amazing how they managed to do that, because they painted the instruments white and a beautiful circle around them, and they even got the little inside bits, right, which are scarcely raised off the surface at all. So I can probably get the white on the inside, and then I can very, very carefully paint the bezel. But I'm going to do it in bronze. It was a really nice dark brown metallic paint. And then there's some switches on here, and those are fairly straightforward. Those are pretty straightforward to paint. But painting this is going to just be a real challenge. I'm going to do the wash on the back. I guess I can do that at the end. This is going to be sitting on a sticky. In order to hold it, I'm going to put it on one of these things like this. Yeah, just something to hold it steady because I can't do it with my hand. And the back of it is stuck on there, so I guess it makes sense to finish the back after I take it off the sticky tack. But yeah, I'm going to work, next time I work on the plane, I'll be working on that. Because the whole rest of that depends on this being done. Yep, and it does. It does that. Okay, so the rest of the stream today, I've got these minifigs. I've got some minifigs for our Dungeons and Dragons show. These are Ulstein Grotfeld soldiers. They're heavily armed and armored dwarves. And I'm going to prime these and paint them next week. But we print these ourselves on the rosin printer across the hall. But, they come off and they've got little bits of this and that and the other thing, that need to be cleaned off. So I'm going to, this is something I can do without hurting anything, I think. Okay, this instrument panel is really important, so I'm going to put it in the box, and I'll cap that up later, like there. But I think I can clean these up without hurting them, and I'm going to do that during the rest of the stream today, because I can't. I'm just not capable of effectively working on the rest of the model. What I'm doing is I'm painting the second coat on this side of the decaled instrument panel. Okay, the cheater one where it's just a decal that shows the instruments as opposed to the painted one, which would be beautiful if I can make it work. So that I can do. It's, it's a fallback kind of thing. If nothing else works, then that can work. Just getting a toothpick that isn't too messed up to hold that in place while I paint it across. It will dry, and then I can wash it with the smoky ink that I use for that. And I'll do that some other time, but not today. I'm going to have to rearrange some things here so that they're safe. So I don't knock them down or break them or something here near the end. And then I'm actually going to put my head magnifiers on to do the cleaning up on those, because it's gray on gray and it's really hard for me to see whether there are little strings and flaws and stuff on it. I just say that it's just hard for me to see it. And so I'm going to do that. But first I'm going to minimize the opportunity for a disaster. Capping up things that can be spilled. There. Putting a paint away. There. Moving the trash there. Salvaging some toothpicks here. Moving these out here, putting this away there. All right. This little guy I'm just setting it there. I'm actually going to put it in the box because it's also, it's small enough that it could get lost. That goes in the box. The box goes there. This is necessary here. That holds alligator clips, which I'm not using. And then all of this, I'm going to be putting in the box here. These bits wrap around that. They create this piece. See, all of these bits here, which are these bits here, come together and they form a canopy, because that's what it is. It's a cockpit. And that goes on top of this. This little thing here is a decal. It's a decal of the seat belts, but I'm not using that. I'm not going to use the decal for the seat belts on the seat because there is a Porco Rosso that sits. He's currently headless. There's a Porco Rosso that fits here. It's got a seatbelt painted on. Okay. You can see the seatbelt, the Y there. Well, part of it, there's a scarf that goes over part of it. So it doesn't make any sense to stick a decal on there and make it look like there's just a decal stuck on it when the Porco Rosso figure goes in and it's wearing a seatbelt. If the Porco Rosso figure weren't there, then it would look like an empty seat and the seatbelt would make sense. But that is how it is. So these instructions are going to go here. I'm moving everything else out of the way. And putting this box, say goodbye to this stuff. Putting that there. And the Porco Rosso guys. I'm just going to leave them out. I'm going to leave them out with the rest of it because they need to get assembled and painted as well. So sad. The head comes separately, so there's a decapitated porco. It's kind of weird, kind of disturbing. And then get a clean paper towel and cover all of that. There, out of the way. It's pretty much should be safe. Pretty much should be. There's some more trash now. Put that with the trash. Okay, these guys. There's 4 of these Ulstein Grotfeld dwarves. This is the paint scheme that they'll be painted. I painted this one. These are the Ulstein Grotfeld dwarves. Yeah, I had moved the camera and didn't bring it back. They're going to be painted this paint scheme of kind of rusted armor. Okay, goggles, helmet, kind of blue. Their clan color is this bluish color, this azure. That'll show up on some of it. This one is actually their leader. This is the leader, Ulstein Grotfeld dwarf. This will be very carefully painted because she's a main character in our D&D campaign. And so, yeah, I want it to look pretty good. But she's got some like little flaws on her sword and on the scabbard for the sword. And I'm going to file those off very carefully because this stuff is brittle. And I have broken enough swords and arrows and things in the past that I just really do not need to do that here. And then I've got I'm not going to show it to you. It's every time I touch it, I come close to breaking something on it. But you'll see it next week, or you can watch the YouTube of this show. Needle files are really a good tool. This is modeling on the cheap because I don't have much of a budget, but I have splurged on a few things. Needle files are one thing. They're really handy to have. And a little micro saw that I use to cut things off of the sprues, which is also a really good thing to have so that you don't mess them up and get divots on your models. All right. I'm not going to go too long on this because I'm getting tired and achy, to be honest. But I want to clean these up so that I can prime them over the weekend. And then we'll see how it goes on Monday. So just as a reminder, I am dog watching. That's why it says dog watching day chaos ? And the question mark was whether or not the dogs would be behaving while I was doing this. It was actually slow getting started because they delayed their duty. They didn't do their due. And so I was a few minutes late while I was cajoling them to take care of business. And it was one of those things where you just never know. They just really don't look good until they're primed. The priming makes a huge difference. then what happens when it's primed is that flaws in the plastic, like this little thing that's dangling off the side of her boot, really show up when they're painted. I'm not going to be painting this one right away because our DM hasn't quite decided the color scheme yet. The other guys are fine because they're the same color scheme as the ones I've done before. But this one is special. Requires some special treatment. Okay, now there's a seam along here. No, that's just part of the armor. Never mind. Just sort of flake off, which is good. Clean up nicely then. And she's wearing like a. I didn't expect her hairstyle to be like that. That's interesting. All right, let's clean this. That's good enough. Yeah, it's kind of weird with these head magnifiers on because I'm bent over and all you can do is see the top of my head. But it's the only way I can really see what I'm doing when I'm dealing with little bits like this. This week I was earlier this week I was complaining about the Mickey Mouse Club. What I was complaining about, and I think I'm justified, is that there were a lot of Mouseketeers, and just a lot of them. I don't know, like 8 or something. But they had their days usually had a serial short like Spin and Marty or the Hardy Boys or something. There was almost always a cartoon that took up a couple of minutes. Most of their days, they had somebody else come on the show, like Guest Star Day, Talent Roundup Day, Fun with Music Day. Anything Can Happen Day, I think, was a cop out. It was just like, oh, I don't know, maybe somebody else will show up on the show and entertain us, or maybe we just need to watch more cartoons or something. But I don't, the Musketeers just didn't do much. That was an easy gig for them. One of them, this was weird. I thought I remembered this. Um, Turned out to be a dancer on the Lawrence Welk show. I don't know if you've ever watched the Lawrence Welk show, but there was this fairly tall guy who always was smiling. He had this kind of creepy, I have to say it was kind of a creepy smile. No offense, sorry, but your smile was kind of creepy. And I think as a little kid, he might have danced on the Mickey Mouse show, Mouse Club. I'm not sure. But yeah, and it's just like you show a cartoon, you show a short, you bring on a guest star of some sort. What do you guys do? You introduce yourselves at the beginning of the show, and then what? I have to watch an old episode or two of the Mickey Mouse Club just to satisfy myself that they had a purpose on as being Mouseketeers. Oh, this has got a fair amount of detail on it. These guys are not going to be real quick to paint. Well, it's not going to be bad, but there's more on here than I thought there would be, just in terms of the details. There's the X-Acto knife out here. Where did I put them? Way in the back. Saw a space where there was just a lot of spiderwebby kind of stuff. Oh, there it is. Underneath here, between one arm and the other. This is I've been told is a gas gun. It's like a flamethrower kind of thing. It looks pretty nasty. No. Paint this maybe several different metallic colors to bring out some of the detail in it. It's got like a flame thing at the front. This is a flamethrower, is what it is, yeah. That's where the flame comes out and where the gasoline shoots. There's a tank on it. But I think the DM is going to use it as a poison gas thrower or something. To give these a wash before I prime them. There's little bits of dust and stuff on them. Well, this is a good thing to do right at the end of the last part of the stream because I'm good for about 2 hours, and then I need to do things that are not too terribly detailed. Okay. Or, potentially spillage or something. Because focus starts to fade, and then I knock things over like I almost did a couple of times right there near the end. The whole bottle of paint once or twice. That was a little scary. Almost doing that. I'm just going to clean these up so that I can prime them, like I said, and then I can paint them next week. So, believe it or not, relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons is going to involve painting things for Dungeons and Dragons show, going back to its roots. It doesn't happen very often, like once every 2 months or so, where we need some mainly minifigs now. Not too many dungeon tiles, but minifigs for the show, and that's what these are. Minifigs that are going on the show. And I'm not being, quite as precise in cleaning these up as I am with my Savoia model, because these, you're not going to be seeing these close up under bright lights. You'll be seeing them at a distance under bright lights when they show up on camera. but there's enough detail on them that, like there's a barrel here there's actually a bung in it. The cork or the piece of wood that goes in to close it up. These are really well done. I have to say, Alexis did a really nice job with these. And the rosin printer did a good job of producing them. Just those stringy bits, they're kind of like support structure kind of stuff that show up. And then they snap right off, which is pretty good. And they leave a fairly clean surface, which is nice. Each of these will take a good long time to paint. There's just so much detail on them. I'll explain that, what the color scheme is and how it's getting painted when I work on these next week. So Dyson Dungeons is a group of family and friends whose main purpose is to put on a Dungeons and Dragons show, which streams with a live chat on Twitch on 3 Sundays a month. I believe including this coming Sunday, which is just a couple days away, with a live chat. And then the past episodes, and there are more than 100 of them. The show goes back a long way. So if you want to catch up, you better start. Those go on YouTube and on a podcast. And the underneath me, there's the social media stuff and whatever that shows where you can find them. And I would really encourage you, if you possibly can, to catch our show, because the Dungeons and Dragons show is really good. This painting stream was a spin-off because things like these minifigs of Ulstein Grotfeld soldiers are, in this case, bad guys, adversaries that show up in our show. And so this painting stream started out as, let's just, if we're going to be painting these things, printing, 3D printing and then hand painting, we might as well show the process. Why not? So that's what how this started. And next week will actually be happening again as I paint minifigs for our Dungeons and Dragons show. The models, like the Savoia that I'm building, happened because sometimes there just aren't any minifigs and dungeon tiles needed on the show, and the powers that be, which is not me. It's like the 6th time I've rhymed something inadvertently today. Sorry about that. Said, well, just, you like building models, right? And I said, well, I did when I was a kid, and I've got like 4 dozen of them that I bought when I retired that I never got around to building. Sure, I like building models. They said, well, do it on a stream. And I said, why? And they said, just do it. And being compliant now, I am. So that's why I'm building the Savoia, and why I built the submarine beforehand, and why at some point I'll finish the Apollo model. There, those guys are cleaned up. But the real point is our Dungeons and Dragons show, and so you need to watch it. You just need to do that. Okay, I'm going to be wrapping up a little bit early here today because Dogs have been alone long enough. I need to see what's going on up there. Um, I got this stuff done pretty much. Just give them a quick wash with a paper towel and some isopropyl alcohol just to get some of the dust off. Some of the little bits that happened while I was scraping at them. Just kind of I don't know, not a really good cleaning, but this is not a thorough cleaning. This is just a wiping down kind of, thing. And then I'm going to prime these, give them a good priming. I think I'm going to prime them. I'm just going to use the gray primer on them. The gray kind of worked pretty well last time. And then next week, I'm still dog watching Monday and Wednesday. So I'll just say, just like today, it might get started late. I might have to take a break kind of suddenly to take care of something if there's an issue. I might even just need to stop early or whatever. So it'll be uncertain. There'll be more uncertainty again with this. Well, these are interesting. I haven't painted minifigs since I painted the Ilsting Rodfelds about a month or so ago. These are a little more challenging than. Oh, there's a spot. These are a little more challenging than the other ones I've done, just in terms of their convolutions. I'm looking at this one. It's just saying, yeah, even getting the paint in there, painting. Sometimes these things are, they're beautiful models, but when you try to paint it, you can't get there from here. And under here is an example of that, of not being able to get there from here. And after they're primed, and sometimes as I'm painting them, I'll see that I've missed this, one of those little bits of remnant from the printing process, and then I have to clean it off and move on. Just decide, put a little undercoat on it and go ahead with it. Might prime this one white. I know the colors that are going on the other ones, and as you can see it's fairly dark, right? The color scheme. So the gray undercoat will be good. But I have no idea how this one's going to be painted. They haven't told me yet. I think they haven't decided yet. It might be brighter colors. So I'm going to use the white primer on this one, just in case they want to use like speed paint on it, or like I said, some lighter colors with a wash over it. So anticipating that possibility. What is happening there? That's a spot. I have to look at that. It's a spot that's going to show pretty significantly when it's painted. Top of so that was a bit that was just extra. super careful cleaning this one off as well. It's good. Just smashed my head into the whatever. There's a little bit of camera that we got going here. Pointy toothpick is not the best thing to use for this right now because it's pointing right through the paper towel. But it's what I have in my hand, so it's what's getting used. All right. So these guys are ready to prime. They're ready for prime time. I make that joke. It's not even a joke anymore. It's just something I say that's dumb. It's a dumb thing I say. Afraid a piece had broken off there. Pickaxe thing. There's a bit there that didn't belong there. No, it's okay. Okay. Enough of that. I'm not even going to put that away because I don't want to cut myself on that. Take these off. Oh, that was good. I didn't cap up the isopropyl alcohol jug. I could have knocked that over, then there would have been half a gallon of isopropyl alcohol all over the floor and the workbench. But there isn't. Yay. Thing to do. When I prime these things, the spray from the primer can move them around. So I just put a little bit of rolled over tape. Some bigger ones. I take some of these, like this tape here, not a tape here, like the animal tape here. It's not that. It's this tape here. That was sorry. Sometimes those things just slip out, you know. Can't. And then I say them out loud, and I go, oh, "Why? Who would say something dumb like that?" And it turns out that it was me. So I just, you know how you roll the tape up so it's sticky on both sides. That's what I'm doing here, and I stick these on there, like that, and it holds them down so that when I spray on them, they don't fly off. And there, and I'm putting this one goes on this separate piece here because it's painted a different color. All right. Thanks everybody who joined in today. I'll be back, I hope, at least on Monday at more or less 10 o'clock. We'll see how the dog watching and all of that goes on Monday morning. Went pretty much okay today. I only was late by, it's only late by 10 minutes or so. That wasn't too bad. These guys are getting primed, and next week I'll be not working on the Savoia, which has come along actually quite well today because all the parts got assembled, so it looks like something. Looks like something happened. But I'm going to be working on these 4 Wilstein Grotfeld guys. And then, depending on how that goes, I'm going to be preparing the giant fungus-infected boulette, which I didn't do today. Let me, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. It's in a box. It should be fairly safe. Just to show people what I did. I got the inside of this. It's like mostly assembled, everything except the cockpit area, which goes up on top of this area right here. And then when the instrument panels are done finally, and this is assembled, then I'll be working on the engine and the engine compartment. The thing was just out of alignment there. And now it's back in alignment, more or less. I don't know why it moved there. Let me get that out of the way again. Okay, these guys get primed. I'll start working on those on Monday. I will see you at more or less 10, I hope, depending on how everything goes. Have a good weekend. See ya. Watch our Dungeons and Dragons show. You must do that. Thank you.